Last month, I posted a video stating Cardano ADA will beat Ethereum in 90 days. Now, I felt time has come to do a much needed update on this, just so we know what exactly is going on in the world of Cardano ADA. So let's cover everything you need to know about Cardano's recent stage of development and whether or not you should still be bullish for the long-term prospects of this project. So to start off, I'm here to say that Cardano's team is saying that they still are on track for their 90-day goal. And then once they hit that goal, they will have beat Ethereum to fully functional proof-of-stake smart contracts. Now, I do need to do some clarification here, though, before we really dive in. When I say Cardano is going to beat Ethereum, this has nothing to do with price. This has to do with the technology behind each coin, the use cases for each coin due to that new technology, and the long-term outlook for each project. I am not going to try and predict what the dollar amount per coin of ADA or Ethereum is going to be in 60 days from now. I have no idea what that's going to be. You have no idea what that's going to be. I'm looking at the long-term outlook for these projects, so I only care which problems they can solve and the value that will be produced in the long run as a result of these problems being solved and the new technology. That being said, let's get into the updates here. So Cardano on their website has this roadmap that we can take a look at. We are currently in the Goguen phase. This is the smart contracts phase, and frankly, the phase that I am most excited about, most bullish on. Now, this phase, to make things a little bit more confusing, is broken into 3 sub-phases called Alonzo Blue, Alonzo White, and Alonzo Purple. So the news that happened about 30 or so days ago that initiated this 90-day beat Ethereum thing, that happened at the end of May, and that was when Alonzo Blue was initiated. And then just about 19 hours or so ago, it was announced that Alonzo White is going to be starting in the next week, which is the second phase of the Goguen phase, and then we have Purple, and then proof-of-stake smart contracts are here on the mainnet for Cardano. So to keep it non-technical, we don't exactly need to discuss the hurdles, the technical hurdles that are in place for each and every of these phases, but Charles Hoskinson himself is saying they're roughly on track and things should still happen at some point in August. Also, you want to make sure that you join the Patreon link down below if you want things like private content, all my buy alerts for cryptos and stocks, my research notes, tons of stuff going on there. That's linked down in the description. Make sure you grab one of those spots. Now, in a couple of minutes, we're going to get into why it's so important to be the first to proof of stake smart contracts and why that really is the future. But we have some other important updates that we need to do first. So first off, Charles Hoskinson, again himself, said independent projects are working hard on the Cardano network, and there's going to be many projects that go live on this network once that proof of stake flip is switched. So as soon as that happens at some point in August, there's going to be applications that can be used, which of course creates value in the ecosystem, and yes, increases the price potentially of the ADA coin. Now, some of these updates are already going to be applied to the current price of the coin, but in Cardano's history, they haven't been the greatest about hitting each and every deadline, so I'm sure there's some uncertainty in the air, and then once it actually goes live, we're going to see a nice little spike up in the ADA price. But again, the long-term outlook is what I'm looking at most importantly. And then on top of this, I just saw a fact that 3 times more people are holding Cardano ADA today than they did last year, and that seems to be growing at a rapid clip. And then on top of this, they are the #1 staked network. So we have some information on that here. You can see Cardano ADA total staking addresses surpassed 600,000. So 600,000 different wallets are staking ADA, and that comes out to $42.93 billion of their total $60 billion supply. That's 71% of all the ADA coins are being staked. Now, this is huge because it means these people are in there more likely for the long haul, but it also means that this coin is going to be less volatile because there's only about 30% floating around there that can really fluctuate the price, which means if you hold ADA, you're not going to be as subject to wild price swings quite as much as other crypto projects. I mean, we still see some wild price swings, but not as much as other projects. Then on top of that, we have a huge update here with Cardano joins Grayscale's digital large cap fund as their 3rd biggest component. So we can see here, this large cap fund is comprised of 67% Bitcoin, 25% Ethereum, and now 4.26% Cardano. and they currently have $30 billion in assets. This is a massive fund that has added ADA, and I think the big institutional money is starting to understand more and more what ADA is doing, and they're placing more dollars on this, and this is just ultimately going to increase the price and increase the interest for other institutional traders and other retail traders. Then on top of that, we had another update from Charles Hoskinson, who had said that there are more nation-state deals in the works beyond this one that has already happened. So if you aren't familiar, Cardano has a deal with the country of Ethiopia. And what they're doing is 5 million students are going to receive Cardano-based IDs that will be verifiable on the blockchain to allow authorities to track every student's academic performance. So this is something interesting that we're seeing, where countries that are less developed are kind of skipping past the early internet phase, and they're jumping right to more highly technical things like cryptocurrencies, and Cardano really is on the forefront of this. If you've ever heard Charles Hoskinson talk about what his long-term goals are, a lot of the focus is on underdeveloped nations, which is extremely exciting, not only just to hear that those nations are getting some focus and they're going to be able to develop quicker because of this, but also it's exciting as a holder of this coin because 5 million students, once they're familiar with Cardano, I mean, it's a pretty easy transition for those 5 million students to become 5 million adults and, want to hold Cardano or use it for other things within the country, which you can see the long-term focus there could mean a lot of potential future value. So why are proof-of-stake smart contracts so important? Yes, we already have smart contracts to some degree, but the fact that one of these massive ultra-cap cryptocurrencies are going to have it initiated very soon, that's what's most exciting. So I made this little presentation that breaks down the advantages of proof-of-stake versus proof-of-work, especially when it comes down to smart contracts, and why Cardano beating Ethereum is so huge for ADA holders. So here's our little presentation here. Now, there are a lot of similarities between proof-of-stake and proof-of-work. They're more similar than different. Both of these systems pick someone to be in charge, do something which, transact value, vote on the system, some kind of governance, whatever the transaction actually is, and then they validate that transaction. They're very similar, just how they facilitate those transactions and validate those transactions is a little bit different. So with proof-of-work, and this is a very non-technical explanation, a puzzle needs to be solved in order to gain the right to produce a block. And I have a little note here. It's proportional to mining resources. So this is when you hear of mining, it's basically people with high-powered computers solving what's called hash problems to gain the right to update a block, and then they mine a reward in that currency. They get paid in that currency. Now, proof of stake, the person who produces a block is decided by a random lottery, and that's proportional to the number of coins staked. So if you were staking 100 coins and your friend was staking 10 coins, you would receive staking rewards 10 times more than your friend is, proportional to how much you hold. They both end with the same result, but one of them does a better job of it in many cases. So we're gonna do the winner of some various criteria here. TPS, transactions per second. And the winner here is proof of stake. We can really tell that proof of stake is going to win when you look at all the new projects and even existing projects like Ethereum trying to transition over to proof of stake. It just simply makes more sense. It's the next level of blockchain. You just get more transactions per second. It can be argued that these projects are actually more decentralized. You can see they're the winner of all these categories. It can be argued that they're actually more decentralized because the issue with mining is there's some economies of scale. So you see it centralized in 5 to 10 different miners, major miners across the country who are facilitating most of the transactions, where with proof of stake, you just need enough for a node, or you can join a stake pool with as few as just a couple coins and start earning staking rewards. Security, the 51% attack is more likely in a proof of work cryptocurrency. However, it's still unlikely. Now, it can happen in proof of stake. However, there's this perverse incentive where if you own 51% of a network, which you'd have to do with proof of stake, why would you sabotage all that value that you are holding? Fees, it can be argued that transaction fees will be far lower with proof of stake because you don't need to pay quite as much because the people who are facilitating the transactions aren't spending as much. With mining, they have to spend a ton of money, so they need to be compensated for that. With proof of stake, you're not spending so much, so you don't need to be compensated quite as much. And then environmental concerns, of course. Proof of stake is just better for the environment because it takes less energy. It's as simple as that. So I'm really excited about this and about their progress and the fact that they are basically on track for their 90-day goal to potentially beat Ethereum. Now, this isn't a slam against Ethereum. I still like Ethereum. I still think that that project is doing great things and it's going to increase in size. But when I look at the two projects and I look at the total market cap, I see a larger potential upside for ADA. Because if you look at market cap, it's simply going to be easier for a coin with a $60 billion market cap to 10x than a coin with a $250 billion market cap. It just takes far less money to do so. Plus the tech is there, everything is there and slowly getting in place for this coin to really take off in the long run. And that's why I'm so excited about it. So that's going to do it for today. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel. If you want even more, make sure you join that Patreon link down below. Got tons of stuff going on there, private content, research, buy alerts. You want to join, you don't want to miss out on that. So I'll see you next time, and I'd like to thank you for watching, and I hope you have a profitable day.